At the Google Doc.
I might do.
I put you in by default, so every time I make a new note sheet, it should.
Oh, but you did it like ages.
It should ping up for you now, like it should be that I should have by default. But let me just paste it in chat for you.
We are live, by the way.
Oh, lovely.
No slurs.
Definitely no. So I mean, there's not a problem because I've really my vocab is clean anyway. So
didn't you you went kind of rogue at the end of the last episode, didn't you? You said some dodgy
excuse
things.
me. I didn't. Don't.
Yeah,
actually, no. I like this. Yeah. You should go back and watch the whole. It happened at some point during the show. I can't remember which. There was definitely some
go through with a
horrible language.
Yeah, you can only hear it if you like it as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's a new YouTube feature. It's awesome. You subscribers only to hear the slurs.
Imagine if that's a thing. That'll soon be a thing. Yeah, like the video for audio to enable audio.
Yeah, just like mouthing it, signing it. Cool. All right. Let's kick off. Let's get going.
Oh yeah, I forgot to do jingle.
Yeah, I need to get to my thing as well. But yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome back to episode 128 of the Quick Resume podcast. It's a bit later than usual than we usually do it. So we're all a bit more tired, but we'll make it through. It's been a bit of a fun week this week, isn't it? I would say. Well, I don't know what you guys have been up to, and heard about the news, but it's been a bit busy, isn't it?
Has it?
I have to admit, right now. What's going on?
Yeah. I haven't had my Instagram.
Well, I mean, I guess the main thing I'm referring to is Suicide Squad finally coming out after 9 years of development. You know, the Xbox side of stuff is a bit smaller, but I find that game so fascinating. So I'll have to earmark some time for that. But before we do, if you're looking at these three handsome fellas and you're thinking, "Wow, I want to hang around. Wow, I'm going to watch all of this," you should probably hit the like button. You should probably subscribe, and you should probably do that anyway, even if you think, "Wow, what three ugly fellas." Like this, come on, show us a bit of sympathy. Yeah, come on, a pity like, a pity subscribe. Like either way, you deserve something. So we'll start just by sort of checking in how we've been doing with the gaming brain. I'm gonna start this week because I don't have much. So I finished Ghost of Tsushima, and I've been talking about it for a while, but that's done. I already spoke about that in detail last week, so you can hear about that if you want to. I was really not sure about what I was going to start next. Do you guys get this? I think this is a sign of adulthood, actually. When I finish a single player game, I start getting excited that I can line up something new.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, hell yeah. And that excitement lasts. It's like lightning in a bottle. It lasts like an hour, and then I'm like, shit. Like I get overwhelmed, and I'm like, there's so much on the backlog because I was going to play Inscription. I wanted to play Marvel Midnight Suns. And then Persona obviously came to Game Pass. I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe I should just ride this hype train. Cause I tried 5, but I didn't get very far. I was thinking about that. And then I wanted to, then I was thinking about maybe I should start the God of War, Valhalla that everybody keeps talking about. Everybody says that's a really good time. There was something else, wasn't there, Tim? There was something else that I messaged you about, but I can't remember what it was.
I think that was it. I think you just sent me it was Midnight Suns, Inscription, and what was the third actually?
Maybe it was God of War. Anyway, so I started getting overwhelmed. I started panicking, and I wanted to play Brotato. That just came out on Game Pass as well.
Cyberpunk DLC.
Cyberpunk DLC. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. So so that happened. So I was really excited, and then I started getting overwhelmed. So I've just really this week has just been a bit of a busy little boy. I just started. I landed on God of War. I just thought because I've already got the PS5. I got the dust off it. I played through Ghost of Tsushima for 30 hours, and I was like, let's just keep going. And I've only played for I think 2 hours, but I was having a really good time. The combat in God of War is just so magnifique. It's so good. It's just so good. So yeah, it seems like it's going to be a really good experience, and I've heard a lot from everyone else. So that's me. Fucking nice. Caden.
I'm probably going to be another quick finish.
We're all going to be quick.
A quick finish.
Yeah, as always.
You know me.
Yeah, no, just been grinding Tekken all week basically. Been loving it. I jumped on a bit of Power World again because I had quite a bad first experience with it on Xbox. Tried it on my PC,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it runs great, so
Yeah,
it was actually quite good fun.
Nice.
But yeah, just a bit of Tekken, a bit of Power World. And I'm kind of like you with single player games at the minute. I'm waiting for my Baldur's Gate to arrive on my PC, and kind of until then, I'm kind of thinking of what to play single player. I'm kind of excited for Banishers coming out in Feb. I might wait until that.
The don't nod
See
thing.
how,
Yeah, it looks
but
good.
see how
It
it
looks
review.
like
I want to see reviews first, though,
yeah,
because
it's
that
that high
hasn't-
production value. Yeah.
So that's probably the next game I've got on the horizon anyway.
Nice.
But
What
yeah,
about
that's it
Dragon's
for playing.
Dogma? Does Dragon's Dogma interest you?
Oh
That's not
yeah.
until March, though, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's not
March.
March,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But like, is that on the horizon for you as a potential single player or
I
not?
don't know. Like, I didn't realize it was an exclusive single player game. Like, I thought it had co-op elements. And
It
stuff
gives
like
off the impression. Like, I'm sure there's so
thought it
much
was.
confusion with a lot of people watching that game. They're
Yeah.
like, well, why is it not?
Yeah.
There's like 4 people on the screen at all times. It's like,
Yeah.
you have a point.
So I'll see.
yeah.
I'll see. With that one, I think I'll have to see reviews. Just because I didn't play the first one, so I don't probably have as much hype going into it as you two do because I've not actually played it before.
But the first one was a really funny game because it's got a bit of a cult classic status, but it was never like a great game. It was like parts of it were really great, but like as an
Yeah.
overall experience, it was like often bogged down, in its own way. Like navigation was a bit of a nightmare, like finding your way around. It
Oh,
was like very
yeah.
Dark Soulsian, but like not in a good way. It was like good fucking because it was like a narrative, there's like good luck, you just explore that area for like 6 hours, you'll find the dancer. And it's like, this is really fun running into stuff, and this combat is amazing, and this companion system is really cool. And the classes, oh my god, the classes, great. But then, yeah, it's sort of gone its way. But it was, I'm definitely excited to see if they've, managed to overcome all those kinks. And Capcom are on a roll, so yeah,
They are.
I'm probably not a day one buy, but if it reviews really well, maybe I will be.
I think I might be a day one buy.
Oh really? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because I think at that point, I might as well say into what I've been playing, but I think at that point I'll be done with Final Fantasy Rebirth, so I think I'll be sort of ready to either start something new or, yeah, I don't know. It seems like I'm definitely more on like a single player kind of game train at the moment. There's not much multiplayer is really grasping my attention currently. Obviously, Halo did for a while,
Suicide Squad.
but yeah, like I said, yeah, not really anything grasping my attention for that. So, but yeah, no, I've been playing Final Fantasy Remake this week, so, and the last couple of weeks as well. I basically just want to complete that again before Rebirth arrives. So yeah, just been chugging my way through that, and I'm hoping to finish that in the next couple of weeks, give or take. And that's basically
Chugging your way through what?
Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I'm just playing it again. I'm doing a replay before Rebirth comes out. At the end of the
Anything
month.
to avoid playing Blade, like anything, like literally anything.
I started this a couple weeks ago. I was always going to do it. So,
all
I'm on the
right.
Final Fantasy hype, man.
Oh, fine. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's fine.
And yeah, kind of battling with my inner demons for Grand Blue Fantasy Relink as well. Like, I've been very tempted with that game. Like, very, very tempted. But yeah, I just can't really justify it with a big RPG on the horizon, JRPG. So, but yeah, definitely one for the bank later. If that game ever ends up coming into the PlayStation catalog or something like that, or it drops in price, because it's reviewed pretty decently, and yeah, it just looks like my cup of tea. Looks like a good game.
Did it launch on Xbox or no?
No, it's just PlayStation exclusive at the moment. So yes, but yeah,
one of them.
That's it for me. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that was easy. Okay. Well, I wanted to start again, as per usual, with some honorable mentions and stuff. Let's start with Suicide Squad. What a fascinating journey that game's been on. Last time I checked, I'm going to check again now just for prosperity, but last time I checked, it was on an Open Critic of 61.
Ooh, that's rough, man.
Right. Okay. So just as a reminder to everyone who doesn't, maybe doesn't know, Suicide Squad is made by Rocksteady. Rocksteady are a very prestigious studio that made the Arkham games back in the day. Well, what was the last? Was it Arkham Knight, the most recent one they made, or am I losing my mind?
Yeah, Arkham Knight was the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like 2015 or something, wasn't it? Last gen, ages ago. And they made the whole Arkham trilogy, which was like huge. It was like the definitive superhero video game and trilogy. It was Arkham. What was it? It was Arkham Asylum, Arkham
City,
yeah, and then Arkham Knight. And they all did really well. Knight came in a bit lower than the first two, but generally, they were like it was like the definitive superhero series, like, amazing, and it set the tone for like third-person combat going forward. Like even to this day, like games emulate that combat system and then what the game did, what the trilogy did. So this studio has been making this Suicide Squad game now for like we've known about it for I don't even know, like maybe 6 years. It's been in development for 9 years. Like that is a long time. Like I can only assume there's been multiple reboots throughout, and it's fine. Multiple delays that we've publicly heard about, and then it's finally come out this week to a 61, which obviously very very low. I just wanted to I just wanted to gauge your guys' like temperature on this. Like, what the fuck is this? Is this like what's going on here?
I found this story quite interesting because I've been seeing loads of things on YouTube with like different kind of breakdowns and why it's bad. Because it's all well and good being a bad game, sure, whatever. But like it's not like a Redfall kind of bad game. It's a bad game in a weird kind of.
Yeah. It's not that it wasn't ready. Yeah, exactly, it's not that it wasn't ready. Yeah.
It's a weird one. So yeah, there's obviously lots of ideas and theories as to why it's done so bad, but I guess probably the main takeaway is just the wrong game for the wrong studio. Is that kind of what we're thinking?
I think so. I think people are just butter. They didn't want this out of the studio. Like pretty much every single review just goes, "This isn't what we wanted out of Rocksteady, but it's what we got." And it's just like people are going in quite negative, I think, based off that. Like Dex said, the game is fully functional aside from the bug that shot you right to the end game, which was hilarious. The game is pretty functional. It works. It looks pretty good, and it plays quite crispy from what I can tell.
In comparison with some of the Arkham.
That was nuts. Like... When I did see those, like the how the city looks like an overarching view, and how Arkham Knight looked in comparison, and Arkham Knight just looked far superior in every way from its stylized graphics and tone and everything. Like that was kind of nuts actually when I saw that. That is quite crazy. But I think overall, I think 61 is a little low. Like, I just think people were just a little bit upset with this is what came out of Rocksteady. They were hoping for something else. But I think you've also got to look at it and it's like, it's probably not what Rocksteady wanted to make. I think they were probably pushed into a little bit of a corner and they were asked to make this game live service and shoehorn a lot of these things into it by Warner Bros. And
if they made a Suicide Squad game. That game.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was how it was pitched. I wouldn't be surprised if
that's
how
Harley Quinn game
initially.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they did Harley Quinn and they did Harley Quinn DLC for Arkham. Did they do someone else?
I think so.
I don't remember.
Not that I remember.
But yeah, they basically did other characters in Arkham. And that was class. It's the same combat, same kind of idea, just with Harley Quinn with new gadgets and new gameplay and stuff like that. And you could see there was a little bit of that in this game, but then there was no kind of like individuality between the characters by the sounds of it anyway.
Like they were all just end up being boiled down to fucking shooty boys, didn't they? Like that was basically it. Like a lot of people were really cheesed off about that. Like they could have had more fun with it, right? They could have just made King Shark a melee only character that just fucking rips people apart and does its thing.
Tim, how would they have made loot that you can level up and keep the game going?
Exactly,
keep the number going up.
And this is what I mean. With I wouldn't be surprised if this game was pitched in a completely different way. Like Rocksteady were like, we want to do something with Suicide Squad.
That's kind of what I think as well.
This is the story we want to tell, and they were like, that's great, but we want it live service, and we
We want
this to,
money.
yeah, exactly. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised if that's how it was born
Money.
and
Have you seen how
changed.
they've approached the end game?
I
have no
haven't.
idea how it works.
Okay, well, spoilers for kind of the story, but the idea of the game is obviously you kill the Justice League, right? They've all been possessed by Brainiac, and defeat them, and then eventually defeat Brainiac. But when you actually get towards the end, it's about like 60% way through the game, you realize that there's 13 more Brainiacs.
Oh no!
In the multiverse, which is how they're going to approach the live service.
Oh man, that's so cheeky.
Yeah, I know. So towards the end of the, not even towards the end of the game, like later half of the game, you're not even going towards the finale. You're going towards just a check box. You know what I mean? It's not like in Destiny, you've got like a finale of your season or your DLC or whatever, and then you go on to the next one. Whereas in this, there's no finale. It's just like on and on. And there's
Kill
13.
Brainiac number 2.
Yeah,
that's kind of shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's it's with like what Tim said. It wouldn't surprise me that this game started as it, because like let's remember as well, 9 years ago, 2015 was the time where every developer and their dogs were making like live service games. Like every game has got to be fucking, it's going to be supported for 10 years. It's got to have microtransactions. It's going to be full price as well. Yeah, make it Fortnite. You heard of that Fortnite game? I want one of those, and that's like throwing it off to the devs. And it's just like it rarely works. At times it's okay, at times it's great, whatever, that's fine. But like there are times where studios that clearly don't have the expertise, and by that we mean like there's lots of special what's the word I'm looking for, like expertise that goes into making a service game. It's not the same. And to me it seems like they were going to do that, and then the game took a while to get right, and then Avengers came out, which, like, for all intents and purposes, should have been such a fucking slam dunk. Like, oh my god, they released that at like the height of like the MCU and still fumbled it because nobody wanted to keep getting Mjolnir dropped over and over again in like a blue version, a purple version, and then a legendary version.
And what was it? A different skeleton for Hulk? No, what was it? It was a different.
I don't know what it was.
For Hulk or something like that, wasn't it? It was just like. Where you get 20 more defense, you're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, it's so like antithetical to like what the Avengers would be about. So, like I understand I get it. Like I get what you were going for, but like the ideas just weren't clicking together in any meaningful way. And so wouldn't be surprised if they saw that happen and they were like, I think we might have either missed the train or miscalculated, and so really pulled back on the service elements, but already had the bones of the game. So. And now that's where they are, because by the looks of it, it doesn't even look like the service is really there. Like it doesn't look like there's a convincing, like repeatable dungeons or anything. It doesn't, so I don't know, but that's what it feels like from an outsider who hasn't played it, obviously. But
yeah. I mean, it's just everything about it is just uninspired, isn't it? It's just the loot's generic.
I think the characters sound great.
Yeah,
like the cast and the story looks good.
That is one thing everybody has praised. They've literally said it's like industry leading in terms of its like facial like animation and capture and like some of the voice acting. Some of it's a bit cringe. Like some of the script is a little bit cringe, and people are like, this doesn't work. But like generally, people saying like they are giving incredible performances, like the voice actors. And like the mocap and the faces and stuff like that, people are literally saying it's like the best we've seen so far. Like it's crazy good. So like people are like giving it some praise in that regard. But it's just uninspired, and in just the whole gameplay like perspective is just extremely repetitive. Everyone's just got fucking assault rifles and snipers. The legendaries are just like, you get a 3% boost on your mag when you reload, and it's just like it's just fucking uninspired garbage, regurgitated looter shooter.
I've heard there's some fairly interesting stuff going on with like some of the builds though. Like there's some decent.
I mean, maybe towards like real end game, but then I mean, you got to expect at least a few builds per character. Like otherwise, that's dire. But yeah, I imagine there are.
It seems competent, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, it feels competent.
Yeah. I guess.
And I mean, so this ties back to like how we opened the conversation, like none of us have played it, but from what I've seen, it feels like 61. I mean, whatever, but like, so like, I'm looking at OpenCritic now and I'm looking at some of the reviews, 3 out of 10, Suicide Squad has 0 redeeming features. It's like,
That's me.
4 out of 10. Is this the same Rocksteady Studios that made the legendary Batman Arkham?
Yeah, I don't think you
Well, it
should
doesn't
be
like you
make
said,
how
Tim,
much of that same team did this game.
I think it's really mean to go into a game and review it like that, though. Like,
Oh,
I don't know.
I agree. Yeah.
Like, you should review it as is a completely new project.
As it is, yeah.
Nothing based on their past projects or anything like that. Like, otherwise, you're always going to shackle a studio to only doing one thing. Like, and that shouldn't ever be the case. No, I think it's really weird when people do that.
It's also betraying the customer a little bit. Like, the job of a reviewer is to communicate clearly to the customer like what the product is that they're buying. And a lot of people are going to buy this game that have never played a Batman. I've played a bit of Arkham Asylum, but I've never completed any of them. Like, so there are going to be a lot of people going into that game without these expectations already in place. They may feel that everybody else is going to be going in with that, but that's not the case. It's nearly a decade ago. There's a lot of people who are going to see Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is more of a, it's been in the news a lot. The last few. It's a cursed IP, but nonetheless, it's still, people know what it is. So people are going to buy this, not knowing what Arkham Asylum was. But that will exist, and so it feels a bit even deceptive or not helpful for the customer. It's like, what do you mean? What's Arkham Asylum? Why do you keep comparing it to that? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and especially as like a lot of gamers these days are like your live service gamers, they are your Fortnite gamers and stuff like that, which probably don't mind a game like this as much as someone who loves the pedigree of the studio. And they look it up and they're like, why are people slapping a 3 out of 10 on this? I'm not gonna buy it. And
Like
exactly.
A 3?
Yeah.
3?
Yeah, that's real bad.
That's like Gollum. That's worse than Gollum.
three's like a non-functional game. Like, as much as this is uninspired and it's a bit, it's a bit fucking copy paste. It's so generic and it's looter shooter. It was clearly just really forced to be live service. You can tell it was really just forced when they didn't want to do that. It's not. I don't even think it's a 6 out of 10. I think it's a little bit higher than that. Like, it still probably plays all right. Like, I imagine that it probably gets a little bit boring.
It looks very polished. Yeah, like it looks. When I watch gameplay, I'm like, this looks fun. I'm not sure about the progression and everything, but this looks like kind of fun. Like,
if it dropped into Games Pass, I wouldn't be opposed to jumping on and playing it with a few people. It genuinely doesn't look like a bad time. I'm just not going to spend fucking 70 quid on it. Like, but I wouldn't be opposed to playing a game like this on Games Pass, and even reviews and what I've seen on it, I still wouldn't be opposed to that. If at some point I don't have much in the pipeline and they're like, yeah, we're putting this on Games Pass, which it probably will because it's got an in-store skin shit. It's got battle passes to make revenue in other ways. So this will make its way to Games Pass pretty quick, I imagine, considering its negative reception. I wouldn't be opposed to giving it a go. It doesn't look like an awful time. It just looks mid, really. So
it's just crazy. It's really crazy to me, like how much this genre has flopped just in general in the last 10 years. I guess maybe more have come out recently, but the genre of 4-player superhero co-op games, like
Anthem
Gotham
style.
Knights came out in October 2022. That got 68. Yeah, Anthem, not
It's the
MCU
first
obviously,
domino.
but definitely the superhero vibe. Yeah, and that was I don't even know if that breached the 70s, but this was 61. Avengers, it's so crazy because that feels like on paper that could definitely work, but it just gets like twisted and mangled into something like disgusting, like what happened along the way. It's funny to me.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, and there's so many cases of these games failing that I don't know why they're really forcing studios and developers to make these kind of games. I don't understand. Like, at this point, you're better off just letting them do what they do best and make a single player game, and it might be really good, and people will probably really enjoy it a lot more than it is now. There are plenty of single player games pop off, so
Well, I mean, at the very least, we seem to be coming out of that phase now. It seems to be. It feels like there's a swell of like single player games now. That's and this kind of genre is reducing as studios are finally realizing, like publishers are finally catching on, like, oh, this is like really like kind of impossible to do. And we always lose money when we do it. I understand the reason they went for it is because, yeah, you're right. It's just emulate Fortnite, like a fairly low cost project, which just ballooned. And then they were like, right, okay, let's recruit 6,000% and just get people making updates on a weekly basis. But most studios can't do that. Epic was already really big. But it's really funny. I'm just like, again, I'm looking on OpenCritic and Anthem is on 61 as well. What was on 61? Yeah, it's exactly the same. Suicide Squad is on right now.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Anthem, what a game! What a game!
There's so many things. Like Anthem failed for all the same reasons Suicide Squad has. Like legitimately every single reason is the exact same. Yeah, just boring, bloated loot and repetitive missions, and yeah, it just failed for
Not
all
enough.
the same reasons. Yeah,
There wasn't enough of it, basically.
Yeah,
didn't work very well. Yeah, you missed out on most of that, didn't you, Caden? You didn't really play
I've not touched Anthem. Never touched it.
Have you really? You never played it?
Never touched
Right.
it. That's I was away whilst it came out.
the core of it wasn't bad.
Bought it and played it, and I came back to a mess, so I didn't touch it.
Yeah. I still stand by the core of Anthem wasn't bad, and I'm sure the core of Suicide Squad isn't bad. There's just so much other shit bringing it down.
Yeah.
I do think that's the general kind of consensus of it, is that overall the game's fine, but there's just so many other things that are just off. Like the mission design is off. There's so many, like, apparently there's 7 different quests where you have to protect a car as it slowly drives through the city. 7.
Oh man. Yeah, that's not fun, is it?
And like, yeah.
I mean,
there's so many
Overwatch
things
is
they could
built
have
on
just
that.
got right with making the characters more unique, because like you said, the story, everything like that, I feel like it's pretty. Oh, actually, well, they're a bit iffy about the story. Some people aren't happy about how they've approached like Batman and stuff like that. But
Oh yeah, there's some
I've
outrage.
seen that.
You can't
There's
really.
some outrage.
I think that's a bit. It's the same thing as like Joel from Last of Us. It's like
I don't really
think
get
that's
that.
fair.
No.
Like
just because you have a connection to the character, like the character, the game is called Kill the Suicide, like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
that's unfair.
I think people are just upset that they were like, this game's canon, and they were like, oh, okay, so it is the Batman we played for like all your other games. Whereas they could have just said the game wasn't canon and people wouldn't have raged so much. But because they were like, no, this is canon, it is the same Batman, people were like, but why?
Kevin McConroy, whatever his name is, as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Kevin Conroy, that's right.
Keith Conroy, not Kevin.
So I think people aren't necessarily upset with what happened necessarily, but why make it canon? Why make it the same one? Like, there's no reason for this game to be canon. But they said it was.
I mean, I guess it's who knows what the mechanics of that were, because like supposedly, the DCU is supposed to be like linking up with the games in the next few years. So, I mean, it sounded to me like the Suicide Squad was going to be a reboot. I don't know if that's how it all works out in the end of it, but like that's what it kind of felt like. Well, clearly, because there's a Wonder Woman game coming, like soon. Like the Shadow of Mordor guys are making it. Can't remember what they're called now.
Montreal, something.
I think maybe it's Warner Brothers.
Monarch.
Montreal.
Something.
Monarch.
What is it? It begins with like an M. It's something.
Yeah, I think it begins with them as well. Middle Earth, Shadow of War. I should really know that because it's one of my favorite games.
Yeah, great.
Monolith. There we go.
Monolith. I knew it began with one.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's Suicide Squad, isn't it? It's a real bummer because I'm not one of these service game haters. These fucking this genre of YouTuber where they just sit there and they're like, oh man, this game's garbage. This game's trash. Man, this game's real garbage. Man, that's so garbage. And it's just that for 3 hours, and everyone's in the chat like, lol, poggers. And it's just that every day for 3 hours. And it's like, what are we doing here? And they've got like 6,000 hours on the game, and they're just like, this is so trashed, so trash. What were the devs thinking? It's just that. And it's like, I'm not I like service games, man. I like them in principle. Yes, a lot of them go wrong, but like I don't feel like we have to berate every single fucking game just because it wants to go past launch day. And I think that's cool about the medium of games. Like other media doesn't really do that. You know, like you get a TV series, but it doesn't like evolve as you play it. It's kind of different, you know, evolve with feedback and stuff. So, you know, whatever. We've always said that on the show, haven't we, Tim, about service games? Like we don't mind them inherently. In fact, on the paper, it sounds quite good, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, we've dumped some of our highest game times in some service
Oh
games.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously Smite is considered a live service game. Destiny is a live service game. You know, all these games we pump so much time into. If done right, they can be really great games that you binge for a long period of time. You take a nice break, and then you binge again when content, you know, comes back up. Yeah, I have nothing against it at all, but just so many people just do it wrong. Like there's literally out of like 10 games that you only get like 1 or 2 that actually manage to stick to the wall. It barely ever happens. Yeah, I mean, look at Outriders is another example of something that wasn't
Outriders was one
bad.
of the good ones.
Yeah, but it fell off so hard, didn't it? But like,
yeah, that's the problem. Being good isn't good enough. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like you have to be a sensational game.
It's so tough. You know.
Yeah. Just quickly to check in on the chat before we move on. I can see Timmer in the chat who did say Monolith, but I didn't have chat up. So go you. Points for you. Golden star. And hi to Cristiano Studios. Hey man. Don't know if you're in the right place.
He is. Don't berate him, dude.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Okay, what we got next? I mean, do we need to talk about I've put on the honorable mentions Persona 3 and Brotato as the Game Pass editions. Like any interest here for either of those games, specifically Persona 3, I suppose, given it just cracked a 90 on you know, Open Critic. Thoughts?
I don't really have any kind of interest in that whole kind of Persona universe, really. It just seems like a lot of effort to get into. And I feel like I've heard that for every game from that.
Yeah, they're so long. Man.
Yeah,
so
and I don't.
Can't be bothered.
Yeah, that's all it is. I'm not saying it's a good or bad game. I'm just, it's not for me. I don't think I'll enjoy it enough to commit 50 hours into it. So I'll pass on that one, I reckon.
Yeah, that's fair.
I might give it a go at some point. Yeah, I like my JRPGs. So I might give it a go. But I mean, it's just a banger that a 9 out of 10 game just drops straight into Games Pass. I mean, that's something to celebrate. Yeah, like that's fucking great. Like talk about even, you know, just keep on increasing in that value. You know, we're just dropping 9 out of 10s into Games Pass. You know, enjoy.
Yeah, no biggie. And that's just after Power. Yeah, it's just coming off Power World, and there's something else recently as well. I can't remember. But
it's been a strong start for Xbox and Games Pass so far this year. Yeah, it's been
definitely
pretty strong start. And I don't know what Brotato is, so I can't comment. So no idea.
It's like Vampire Survivors, but you're a potato.
Actually, yeah, it actually sounds kind of cool.
Have you seen the Deep Rock Survivor?
I have, yeah.
That looks awesome. That looks so class.
It does. It's the art style is really good. Yeah.
I'm Googling it right now. Didn't know that was a thing.
The Brotato thing is because Phil Spencer was, you know, Phil Spencer's like a massive like stand for Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I need more of this. I need more of this. You, Brotato, you look great. And it was like, I'm gonna get it on Game Pass, and then he did. So this is here we are.
Okay, well, fucking Chrome's not working, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. I'll look it up later.
Yeah. All right, then let's sort of get on to the main news of the week. I say we start with the PlayStation State of Play. You might think you're an Xbox show. Why are you talking about PlayStation? Because we're fucking gamers
like
with a capital G. Them. That's what. Oh.
Fucking so anyway, foam stars.
2 out of 10. 2 out of 10. Showing. Yeah. Did we all? I did get around to watching it. Late. You guys watched it like on the day, didn't you? You watched it live. So why didn't you
live?
Fuck it, I'll throw it to you two. Just you.
Yeah, you go, Ken. You can start it off. What do you think?
Well, just kind of looking through the list of the games. Is this in order of the showing? It is, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I think Helldivers 2 looks awesome.
Does look fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think
it looks so much fun, and apparently
I agree.
it's got a very like Starship Troopers kind of like.
I love Starship Troopers as well.
Exactly. So
I don't know anything about that.
I don't think it's a game that we'll ever play, but like I just think I want to see more about that game. That looks really, really cool.
Mm.
And Stellar Blade, that looks that looks great.
This is good.
That looks peachy.
That looks good, man. I that's on my list.
It reminds me of another Blade game that came out ages ago. It's like a lady with Heavenly Sword. Is that it? Fucking hell, that's just come out of nowhere.
We were just talking about that like a couple of weeks ago, weren't we?
Oh.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it just kind of looks like that, which is pretty cool.
It looks great. I really like the look of Stellar Blade.
I'm not sure about great. I mean, I don't know. Like I was like I had no interest in Stellar Blade, and then I saw it and I was like, I still don't think it's for me, but it's more ambitious than I thought it was going to be, for sure. But I mean, I don't know.
I got it on Fantasy Critic after watching that trailer.
I mean,
I'm that confident.
You're getting low 70s.
Nah.
Actually, no. You'll get the PlayStation boost.
It's the next Nier Automata,
you'll probably get 80s.
It's a spiritual successor.
That's quite the remark.
Yeah.
Isn't it like their first game? Wasn't it? Is that right?
I don't know. I didn't give it too much research. I kind of just watched the trailer and with my half
You're
chub
like,
went on Fantasy Critic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching it with Telly. She was like, I don't see the interest. I'm like, 10 out of 10.
So good. It's a little bit like on the nose, though, isn't it?
Oh, come on. How dare you? Are you that shallow, Dex?
Do you want women in games or not? Like, make your mind up.
Dex like,
he's so shallow, isn't he? Just sees them as objects. It's fucking crazy. Such an
I don't know where to start with any of that. Game looks shit. What was next?
All right, Jesus.
Sonic. Sonic's next.
Sonic.
That's still a thing, apparently.
That's our take on it.
I don't know who's playing Sonic anymore, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
But unironically,
people on the list.
Yeah.
What do you mean? The last one was like quite all right, wasn't it? Whatever it was, the bright right. Sonic. Yeah, it's quite all right.
Yeah, they've hit a bit of a stride actually. The Sonic team, the last few they've released with like Generations and somehow.
What was it fucking called?
I don't know.
Frontier.
Somehow that fucking
Frontier,
that Sonic Frontiers game, against all odds, that game actually came out okay. And I don't know how the fuck that happened. I feel like someone was sacrificed for that to happen. Like that game looked like a fucking like a sandbox. It looked like a fucking like beta forge for like Sonic, and then it just came out and it was actually okay. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but Shadow's in Sonic now, so yeah, sweet.
I mean, it still looked kind of old when I saw the trailer. I mean, I know it's obviously a remaster, I guess. I don't know, whatever.
No
it's
idea.
Sonic.
I don't think so. I think it's like a new thing, but
how is it? Okay.
I don't know. What the hell is ZZZ? I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
I think it's an abbreviation for something, but I don't know.
Yeah.
ZZZ game.
Splatoon 3. Looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Splatoon 4 in it. Isn't there a Splatoon 3 already?
Oh, I don't care.
Okay then. Such
That's
a PlayStation
embarrassing.
hater. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Foam Stars is... I don't know. There's a part of me that's just like, it looks kind of fun, but I just can't get over the fact that it's just Splatoon. It's Splatoon. Like, there's nothing to its core. It's just Splatoon. But
yeah, Splatoon.
It looks fine.
On not the Switch.
Yeah, it looks fine. Dave the Diver coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, looks cool.
Probably a big deal to a lot of people. It's super popular, isn't it, on PC, that game? So
I've been meaning to play that game eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah. V Rising, I can't really remember that.
I've heard a lot of good things about V Rising.
Yeah, I've seen some people play this. I didn't think it was a Diablo-like game. I thought it was like a survival game. I thought it was like a survival build-based, top-downy. I swear I've seen some people play it in like beta on YouTube. like on PC, like in its early stages.
Yeah,
because
action role playing survival game.
That
Yeah.
oh, you just
Oh, it's the
yeah.
it's the one where you build your fucking.
It's like survival, but like nighttime is your friend
Yeah.
and daytime is the enemy because you're a vampire. Yeah, they like just flipped it round. Like
it looks okay.
It's fine.
But what I do think is maybe a bit Silent Hill 2, I think looked a bit mid.
Overrated, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Silent Hill games.
Yeah,
I've always thought this.
And I don't think this game is going to review well, and I don't think there's any need for a new Silent Hill game.
I don't have much of a connection to Silent Hill, but every time I've seen one be played and every time I've tried to play one, it just feels like a pretentious ass, more janky Resident Evil that's trying to go a bit more psychological, and that's where it's trying to find its niche. But that might hit for some people, but it just feels just very jank in so many ways, like the old ones. And this one also looks kind of jank. It looks dated, which,
Agreed.
But yeah, Caden's right. It'll probably be a banger and people will probably love it, but maybe it's just not our cup of tea.
I haven't played any of them, but when I saw some complaints about it looking like it has more of an action focus than the original did, and like they were just trying to ape Resident Evil 4 a little bit, I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw some complaints.
God, if that's more action focused, then jeez.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Fine. But I tell you what looked great, and both me and Tilly were literally like, "This is fucking cool." Is Judas?
Yeah,
that game does look so
I'm a huge
cool.
BioShock fan, and that game I was like, wow,
yeah, I love BioShock.
Yeah, it's the same director.
Yeah, it's
Ken Levine. It's the same director.
It looks really fucking cool, man. It just looks wacky and cool, and the worlds that they like build are just so great. Like the world of BioShock and the world of BioShock Infinite as well, and like this one, they just look they're so unique. Like their whole atmosphere, and it looks great. And I love I love all the magic systems in their game, and like it's a first person shooter, but you also got your fucking flinging spells everywhere and stuff like that, and it's cool, man. I'm pretty excited for this game, but
at one point, it looked a bit like Atomic Heart. Like it was a step weirder than like BioShock was. Like I was kind of expecting like a talking lunchbox at some point, like it was an Atomic Heart. And everyone was like, "Why is there a talking lunchbox? What's going on?" But yeah, I agree. I thought it looked really good. I did think like the art style looked a bit off though. There was something wrong. Like I'm liking the direction. I like how the world looks, but something looked kind of soft. I don't know. It just didn't look like punchy. I don't know. It looked like the saturation was off, so maybe it was just the trailer. But that was my only criticism, really.
Yeah, no, it looked great in my opinion. But
it's on my radar for sure.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I can note. Obviously, we're going through. Maybe we'll bring it up at the end actually. But I was kind of disappointed that the Metro ended up being a VR game. But
I'm going to pick it, and you're going to counter pick it, and we're going to see what happened.
Yeah,
third year running.
You're going to
You
lose
got
points
yourself
on
a
a
deal.
VR game.
You got yourself a deal. I'll roll that dice. Yeah, skill check me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of disappointed because I quite like Metro, and I've just never been a VR person. But Metro, like to their credit, are very atmospheric and slow games, and that actually could translate quite well to VR. So
definitely.
I don't know. We'll see with the counter pick, I guess. But yeah, just a little bit disappointed for me personally that it ended up being a VR game, but it actually might be a banger. So yeah.
Quick shout out to Joaquin in the chat.
Popping off.
As per usual, hurling insults, asking if I'm crying. Yeah. But he said the show was hot ass. If it wasn't for Kojima, it would have been 4 out of 10. So he said so. He just gave it a 6 out of 10.
He's such a fanboy.
Yeah,
ridiculous. What else was there? What was Legendary Tales? That was more of a PSVR.
Speaking of mids, we just come off of Rise of the Ronin. How just mid. The first thing me and you said was just like that just looked so meh.
I'd be interested to see what the
multiple games put in one in a bad way.
yeah, what everyone else thinks like in the chat about Rise of the Ronin, because I was very lukewarm on this. I don't know. It gave off a lot of like Neo vibes as well. Like I could see in its combat and the way the combat was done, how enemies like react to being hit and how you move was very like sharp, like arcadey
Well,
and
same team.
Neo like. Yeah. And then obviously it takes its inspirations like from obviously Ghost of Tsushima and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, man. It just people will compare it to Sekiro. People will compare it to Ghost of Tsushima and Neo, and those are all pretty fucking enormously great games to compare something to, and I just don't know if it will hold up personally. Just didn't look fantastic to me.
I don't think they tend to demo that well, like Team Ninja games. Team Ninja's stuff is definitely, they're at the stage where their engine is starting to get a bit outdated. Like the gameplay loops they make, they're really good at the gameplay loops and the combat, but like in terms of like how things look and the animation and everything, it looks dated.
Yeah.
So I don't think it will look particularly well. I mean, yeah, who knows? I mean, I definitely thought you thought there was some animations I saw where I was like, that looks kind of weird, where like people were like sliding around to get into position for their hit, and like it looked like animations were playing at 3 times speed so they could get ready for the actual combat. Like there was some stuff that looked a bit like not quite ready, and visually it wasn't really that impressive. But I mean, I liked the aesthetic. Like I liked the whole movement thing and breaking out the wings and flying. Like, that looked quite fun. But yeah, it looked fine.
It's so hard to call, yeah, because Team Ninja they don't really miss. And it's been in the oven for a long time. Like they've been developing this for like, did I hear it was like 8 years, 7, 8 years or something like that? It's been in development for. It's been in development for a really long time.
But that would surprise me because their last game was Wo Long, which was obviously only last year. But presumably they have a couple teams over at Team Ninja, so maybe it was like their B or C team who were working on it.
But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't get good vibes from it, from that showing personally. And then I tell you what though, I was really excited, and I thought we were getting an Until Dawn 2.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be
I
fucking
think this is
remaster.
Completely the wrong game to remaster.
Yeah.
Who would want to play this game again?
No such thing, mate.
Because once you played it once,
all of them.
Yeah.
Once you played it once, you know it's a movie. You're done. Yeah, you know the outcome. It's not really a replayable game. Like,
well, you can replay it to get different endings, but the ending is 2 people survived this time.
Yeah. It's...
Or I got a different. This guy got his face ripped off here, and he only got his leg ripped off in this bit. So, yeah, it's such a strange game to remaster. Completely foreign to me, but people will buy it, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's what kicked off that whole type of game, really, and it was great. Like, I really loved like watching like playthroughs of this, and I thought the game did look really, really fun. I was excited to actually see a sequel, potentially, and then when it was like remaster, I was literally like, I actually shouted "boo" in the living room. You can quote me on that. I literally shouted, "Oh, boo!" like immediately. Yeah, I was not happy. But yeah, so
it's funny. I just while remembering, I forgot. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Team Midger Until Yawn.
Yeah.
The fucking Silent Hill thing. Like I forgot to mention that we just spoke about Silent Hill 2, didn't we? But they launched like a prologue that day. Like I don't know how long it was, maybe 5 hours or something. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I did try and Google it, but I couldn't find a firm answer. And have you heard about how that game has been received?
I think very negatively, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were they going for a what was that old Silent Hill?
A PT.
Yeah, that's what. Were they going for that kind of
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's exclusive to PlayStation 5. Yeah, it's not on PC or anything, which was surprising to me. And it's currently on a 57.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. Like if I don't know, it's just a bit. This felt like this would have been an easy target, but maybe it got overshadowed by Suicide Squad. Like usually, if a game comes out at 57, like the internet's all over that. Yeah, like what a piece of trash. But it's
Yeah,
just slipped under the
but
radar.
it's
But
free.
like I said, maybe it was just an hour long. Yeah, maybe it's an hour. Maybe it's free, so it doesn't really matter that much. But you know,
Yeah. No, it was free. They were like, it's free and you can download it now. So maybe
Oh,
that's why
okay.
people just aren't kicking it off as much. Like they were just like, sure, that actually sounds kind of cool. I'll give it a go. Oh, it's shit. Oh well, yeah, it's not really that big of a deal, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have heard it was quite negatively received. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. What's next?
The last.
Can I have an answer to my question that I asked when I first saw this game? What is Death Stranding?
No one knows, Caden. I don't think fucking Hideo Kojima knows. He's just fucking figuring it out along the way.
I watched that whole trailer. That whole. I didn't know what it was.
Whatever it was, Fever Dream.
There's spaceships and babies. There was fucking.
I mean, it would just be Death Stranding 1.
A guy,
probably a bit more action, I reckon.
With a guitar gun. What else was there?
Yeah. I think they'll probably they'll lean into a little bit more, action, I think. Because that's like the thing the first game was criticized for most, where they were like, great world, great graphics, great story. You just run around. Yeah, you're a fucking delivery man. That's all you do. So I think they'll probably, because they even made the comment in the trailer, just like, he like took a gun off him and he was like, "Oh, you're using guns now, are you? Like, I thought you were above this or whatever." And it's just like, yeah, he uses guns now.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That really interested me, that trailer, because I've got Death Stranding 1. I bought it for like £5, the director's cut.
Yeah.
Just because I'd play it one day, but I don't know. Maybe I won't. I don't know.
Yeah,
that intimidated you, that trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might just watch like a
sensory overload.
I might just watch like a movie of it, like where people just put together all the cutscenes and stuff.
It's probably not a bad
It does seem really interesting. Like with but the gameplay, like you said, sounds pretty dull. Like walking simulator. That's the what everyone says about it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, man, because like originally I was like, well, I'm not going to bother with Death Stranding when I revisit all of the PlayStation exclusives because it looks like it's going to be really long and it might be slow, and that's fine. And I'm fine with slow, but the storytelling always looked quite great. But then I've watched that trailer and I was like, I tweeted at the time, and I was just like overflowing with like creativity, even if it's fucking bonkers. Like there is a big brain thinking there. Like it's just so creative and wacky. And I thought the same thing. I was like, maybe I should go and play the first. Maybe I should give it a crack. Maybe I will enjoy it. And I don't mind the slower paced gameplay. So maybe I will, but we'll see. But yeah, I agree with you. The trailer was really interesting. Maybe that's the best adjective to use.
Yeah, it's bonkers, man. And yeah, I mean, obviously I know a little bit about Death Stranding and the fact that it's really weird, but Tilly, who I was watching with, had no idea. And when some of the stuff was happening, especially when the guy like whipped out the guitar, and she literally just went, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was like,
and you're like, "Yeah, makes sense." Yeah.
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't have a fucking clue what's going on. No, it's really funny.
Yeah.
I'd love to just do like like an adults react to like Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2. Just put a bunch of like adults in a room and play like the trailers for them.
Yeah. Like people who've never seen a video game before in their life.
Yeah.
What is this shit? All right. I don't know if there's anything else we need to cover. I mean, obviously, then afterwards, Kojima said, "I'm making a new action espionage IP," which sounds like it's just going to be Metal Gear Solid, but without the Metal Gear Solid license, because Konami's,
he said he was going to blend movies and games together.
Yeah,
like
so he's
before.
doing and that's what he's doing. Like that's what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Although it's really funny, isn't it, Tim? Because you said this a while back of like, because he's obviously working with Xbox on their thing, which is like a blending together of games and cloud and whatever. And you were like, yeah, he's just going to mail everyone on Xbox a piece of shit and be like, that's my game. But for PlayStation, he's going to make some like $1 trillion like spectacle of a video game.
He just makes like fucking AI the game.
Yeah. It's just going to be a JPEG. It's just going to be a JPEG. That's it. That's the game.
Yeah, but yeah, the guy is clearly just he's just opening up his journal and people are just buying whatever the fuck he writes in his in his idea journal.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And then back February the 6th for the Final Fantasy Rebirth State of Play. Woohoo! I mean, how did we feel overall about the show? Was this like a good beat for them? I mean, what do we think?
Not really.
No.
I don't think so. There were a couple of things in there which were kind of cool, but so much of it was like, when the fuck's this actually coming though? Like, they just showed a trailer and they were like, it's in development. It's like, oh,
there was only 3 dates given. The rest of them were
like Stellar Blade got one. I guess I think a couple got like a autumn, and then no date later this year. Date Dragon's Dogma we already know about, doesn't count. Rise of the Ronin, no date. Death Stranding, no date.
We already knew Rise of
like there was so much. There was just not really much confirmation. Like, it really looks like it is going to be a quiet couple of years for PlayStation by the looks of it. A few things sprinkled here and there, but I think the next couple of years look quite quiet for Sony. But...
Well, yeah, I mean that is an important thing to note, that there was not a single first party thing here.
Okay.
First party, yeah. There's a lot of exclusives, but it's not first party. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nothing from their first party team is here. Nothing.
Yeah, I guess you're
people
right.
are expecting to see more of Concord.
Who's making Stellar Blade?
It's just like a debut entry from a team, I think, or like a mobile dev. I'm pretty sure.
Is it a play? Yeah. Obviously, it's not first party. I don't even know if they announced it as PlayStation exclusive. Probably, right? I would imagine.
Interestingly, funny you mention it. It was announced as multi-platform years ago, and when it was announced, and then it got money hatted. So
it did get money hatted. Okay, damn. I always got kind of excited there. But...
yeah, to fill that Q1 gap.
And then Helldivers obviously isn't first party either.
Nope.
Yeah,
I think they do own the IP. I think they own the Helldivers IP. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they do. But yeah, I mean, it's not a first party development game.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just a bit, surprising, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking at. Do the audience really care about that? And probably not. But it was just worth noting, because when obviously people are going to be contrasting and comparing to whatever the next Nintendo show is. The developer direct we just had, and the developer direct was on 3 big first party games, and then the Square Enix, whatever that was, Mana, and our History Untold, which third party, but nonetheless 3 big first party things. So I mean, I'm hearing like the vibe I'm kind of getting from you two is like, yeah, that's fine. Is that right, or are you feeling a bit more optimistic than that, or maybe less so?
Yeah, fine.
I think it's because we've already seen a lot of these games, right?
Yeah,
we've already seen a lot of, well, not a lot, but we've seen Judas before. We've seen Dragon's Dogma before. Until Dawn, we've obviously seen before. Like,
we've seen Helldivers.
We've
seen Stellar
before,
played as well, just not to the extent we got. Yeah,
so that's probably why it wasn't hugely exciting. And the only ones we haven't heard of are Silent Hill 2, which look meh, and the other ones which I don't even know what they are.
Yeah. So yeah, just I mean, my vibe on it as someone who owns PlayStation, and will I buy these games, and what's PlayStation looking like for the next 2 years? I give that show like a 6.
Yeah.
I'd give it like a B-, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't fantastic. Yeah.
It was like the format was fun. They had a little introduction. They went game to game to game. Cool. They showed what was coming next, State of Play. I think that's really good to do that. Like a handoff to the next show, I think is really good for like momentum. Like what they showed, like the actual stuff in there, there was some like definitely interesting things. For me, Judas was definitely a standout. Dragon's Dogma 2 was a great trailer. But again, like in terms of selling me to like play my PlayStation more, it was like, if Helldivers pops on, like pops off, like maybe like on a level, maybe,
yeah, potential.
But yeah, and I don't think that's an uncommon feeling. Like I think a lot of people kind of felt that was a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. If there are no other comments on the PlayStation State of Play, we'll move on.
Yeah. happy to move on. Yeah.
Who just started typing in the notes? Who is that? Tim, is that you?
I wrote no. Yeah.
Come on, Tim. What are you doing?
Just going off the rails, man. I'm so fucking bored.
Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable. Joaquin's accusing you of copying his answer.
He
Tim.
always does. I barely read chat.
Fucked.
It's so fucking annoying. He just says shit.
Well, maybe you're just like
who's copying me? No, I'm not like-minded. Guy's an imbecile.
Maybe you're like-minded. You can't do that.
Maybe you are.
Yeah, maybe you're an imbecile. You ever thought about that?
That's why you're...
Nah.
That's why you're copying his answers.
Yeah.
No. Don't turn this around on me.
All right.
No, this works.
All right, so we've got a little check-in here. We've got a little check. We've got a little fiscal report. We've got money. We've got the money numbers around Xbox, right? That happened the other day, this week. We had Windows revenue up by 11%. Who gives a fuck about Windows? Am I right? Boring. Snoresville. Right.
Nice.
Devices revenue down 9%. You know, that's not of money of my interest. It's not the gaming stuff. The meat and bones. Gaming revenue is up 49%.
Big.
Xbox content and services 61% up, and Xbox hardware up just a little tiny 3%. So that it was, and just to like give the wider context to everyone who's maybe doesn't know, maybe you guys as well, this was the first quarter that Xbox has had ABK officially integrated. So that all of that money from ABK has now, you know, is reflected in the Microsoft fiscal report. So it was expected that there would be a bump. The consensus I got is that this was a little better than expected, with hardware growing actually this time around, which is, you know, good because it's kind of either been at like 0% or minus 10% or minus 1%, like for the last few quarters. I'm just wondering if you guys are seeing anything there and you have any thoughts, you know, maybe around the growth of revenue overall, or the services, or the hardware. You know, it's only a small bump in the hardware, but I'm just...
What does it mean by content? What does that mean?
Like games purchased on the platform.
So gaming revenue, is that more like microtransactions?
Yeah, revenue is just all of it. Yeah, revenue is just all of it. Like whether it's hardware, microtransactions, games, subscriptions to Game Pass, just the whole pie, basically.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's some big numbers, I think. 61%.
Big numbers.
Yeah, stonks up. Yeah.
Nobody commented on my thumbnail. Did you not think that was amazing?
I was
giggling to myself. Look at the thumbnail. Have a quick look.
Oh, God. Better be worth my
to make a good look first now, aren't you?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I mean, it's great, right? It's nothing but positive. Everything's going up, so that's great. It is a little bit surprising. I know you said like ABK and everything like that, but like there's not, like, even when we absorbed ABK, we weren't really like there's actually that much sort of coming in to like Games Pass and benefiting people like immediately. But I don't know.
Well, how do you mean? Sorry, say that again.
Well, there wasn't too much coming in from ABK with immediate effect that would be benefiting the consumer, you know, like in terms of dropping into Games Pass or anything like that, that people are like, oh, I have to subscribe now. I have to buy an Xbox now.
But right, so the stuff that people will have just bought from Activision Blizzard stuff, it would now be counted as Xbox revenue. Yes, yeah.
Okay, right, so it's just okay, all right, yeah, okay. Well,
it just is Microsoft revenue now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you say, to be expected because Blizzard have, you know, they pumped out Diablo 4, which was a huge success. You know, it's had its ups and downs, but it's been a very big success. And, you know, Overwatch 2 as well, you know, all these fucking it's done a good job, you know. It's had its up and down, but it's a sequel. So
it is a sequel. It is in fact a sequel.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that everything has gone up, basically. Yeah. But it's good to see it go up by such large numbers. I mean, a 49% growth just overall in gaming revenue is, you know, the execs are going to be liking that. You know, it's a nice number to see.
We bought the right thing. We did do a good thing, even though we spent, you know, 70 bill for it, you know. I suppose that, the interesting, like, kind of like the trend line here is going to be more interesting in the coming quarters, where, like, is it still going to be up? Well, this is year over year, I believe. But in quarter to quarter, I wonder if it will still be good next month or if things start flattening. Like for the full year, it will be up over last year because ABK is now integrated. But quarter to quarter, it'll be interesting to see if it holds. Especially because their Xbox hardware has been struggling. In terms of revenue, there's actually been very strong. Because it's on PC and cloud and everything. Like they're getting good revenue. It's just that it doesn't seem that there's more people buying into Xbox consoles at the moment. It's just like the same people who are buying in, which is fine for them if they play their cards right. Whereas like PlayStation are having big adoption rates, they're having growth of like 50, 60, 70, and on big months like even into triple figures. And part of that is because they had some supply constraints last year, so it's accentuated by that. But nonetheless, it's interesting that Xbox's biggest strength in terms of their gaming sector is that, or Microsoft's gaming sector, is that their audience is really engaged. Like their monthly active users, like per capita, is higher than PlayStation's and higher than Nintendo's. Like the people that play on the Xbox platform tend to play a lot and spend a lot.
Yeah,
which is I think reflected here. Like the content and service revenue are being up really high. Obviously, ABK is in there as well, but that's just going to compound it. Because those are big games that those consumers will continue to spend money in, especially if and when we do get a Game Pass drop. And more audiences kind of converge.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's such a valuable kind of income as well. That like consistent like revenue and that consistent money coming in and that growing all the time. Like the repeat business essentially, like all the time, rather than these one-off purchases and things only coming out when there's something hyped on release. Like a big game like on its way, and then people buy it and then they drop off again, for example, like on PlayStation. Like that's how I use my PlayStation. I literally just wait for the Final Fantasy or something, I dust it off, I play it, and I pack it away again, kind of thing. Whereas with Xbox it's just consistent across the board, just money coming in. So it's a good figure to have.
I do wonder when that Game Pass drop is happening. I mean, I assume we're getting one. The way we did with Bethesda. Like, are we going to get this big Game Pass drop of like an ABK games?
Oh,
yeah. And I also just wonder, like, where's like it. Like, what's that integration looking like? Like, if you don't have any immediate games that are coming for the Xbox ecosystem, like kind of exclusively, like where's with Bethesda, when the acquisition happened, the Game Pass drop happened, and then like shortly after they announced like, oh, here's Redfall and here's Starfield and here's a couple of other things which are coming either exclusively to the platform or day one Game Pass. And that hasn't happened yet, so I'm just curious like when that will all start moving. It almost feels like there is a change in strategy coming very soon. Now, This is the saucy stuff, guys. Yeah, this is the saucy stuff, right? You may remember a couple months ago, we spoke, well, it was a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about like possibly some games going multi-platform. The big the suspects, the prime suspects at the moment are Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. And we kind of went back and forth on this, and I think like the consensus was that there was some mixed feelings like among us generally. I think Caden, you were pretty lax on it, whereas Tim, you were a bit more stern on it, as was I. But it's seeming to be more and more that case. So the news here is that there was some data mining that happened, and there were some t-shirt designs for Chai in game. That implied that there's probably going to be a PlayStation and Switch drop. There's a green one that says Shadow dropped. Then there's a blue one that says I'm here, baby. And then there's a red one that says Rock Out Anywhere. All a bit sus. I mean, maybe we've all got tinfoil hats on a bit too tight, but like, I don't know. Like, it feels pretty
sus as fuck.
locked and loaded at this point.
Yeah, that's happening. Yeah.
Do you think they're going to shadow drop it on other consoles?
Can you imagine? Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Maybe. So it kind of pulls us back to this conversation, and like Joaquin is really down my throat about this because I'm like I don't know how I feel about this strategy, guys. People won't know what games are staying on the Xbox console anymore.
It's true.
Like this will work as a business, as an Xbox platform, like across all of these services. I think that will work great. But for your console audience, I think you're really going to alienate them, and you're really going to like people are going to look like go to Google and they'll be like, what console should I buy, or what console should I buy for my son / daughter? And it's going to come up and it's going to be IGN, and they're going to say, well, this is the games you can get on Xbox. This is the games you can get on PlayStation. And then at the bottom it'll say, but there's a lot of Xbox games come to PlayStation a year later. So, maybe you make the call. And then the dad or the person is going to be like, I guess I should get a PlayStation then, because then I can get everything I want on there. All I must do is wait a small amount of time. Like, I'm not really seeing how this sort of move doesn't impact the console, unless there's like a piece of the puzzle that I don't understand yet, which we'll talk about in a bit. But like that may be there. And I'm just curious. Like, I don't know if you guys have like seen this discussion like developing or anything, or if you have any further thoughts on this. Like, is this like the end of the Xbox console as we know it? If this starts to happen, go.
You want us to
you
solve
deal
it
with
right
that
now, do you?
No, I just want you to
do solve
like.
it.
Hardware
Do you
revenues
think
up. The hardware
could it really
revenues up
damage the console?
3%. So
It's pretty big numbers.
I mean, yeah, it is weird, but then I don't know. I think I can't really remember what my old point was, but same kind of idea where I think games like that can exist on different platforms and it not really be a problem, as long as they're clear with how they're doing it, which is kind of what they're not doing. Where are you creating like an Xbox kind of publishing party where you can just put stuff wherever you want, or there needs to be a kind of like solid answer as to what's coming to the Xbox console and what is going to appear elsewhere, and why maybe as well would be a good thing to know. But yeah, maybe I'm a bit more relaxed. I do see your point in where you're kind of a bit confused. I mean, you're a bit, or you can see how other people will be confused seeing Xbox games appear elsewhere.
Yeah,
and there's a bit more clarity. I think maybe that's what they're doing.
Definitely right. I definitely agree with that. But like, I think part of the problem is that concern doesn't transfer to PC, because PC also has the benefits of Game Pass, but then it wouldn't have the downside of like missing out on other console exclusives. Because guess what? PlayStation exclusives go to PC later as well. That's happening now. So, I just it starts to feel like a bit of a lose-lose unless there's part of the puzzle that I'm missing here. And I think a lot of the audiences will feel that. I think you're right in that you can make a good case for some games. Like, there's got to be a point where some games like start to dry up and they look at the data and they're like, look, this game isn't selling consoles or pushing Game Pass subscriptions anymore. We've already hit the ceiling. So at that point, we're going to pop it everywhere else, get some more money from it, and maybe build interest in a sequel, which will again launch as a timed exclusive on our platforms where Game Pass are. So maybe there's a process there, but I just think they're really not quite understanding that is going to be impossible to communicate to your casual gamer. All they're going to know is that there are games that are Xbox games that end up everywhere else. And I'm talking, and I can see in my peripheral, the fucking chat box is moving. So I know Joaquin is having a go at me.
He is.
So I just think it's going to be like impossible to, unless you're just going to set a blanket like principle, like all our games are going to be 2-year or 1 year or 3-year or 6-month exclusives, and after that point we're going to assess them and probably put them somewhere else. And then that's again a problem, because people are going to see that, but okay, so no games, like I can just get other places and play all the games. So, and the other piece of the puzzle is like, unless there's some sort of hardware innovation or something that they do that makes it like worth having the console in the way that the Switch does. Like people buy the Switch because they like the flexibility of the portability and the dock. People will buy stuff there as preference over the PlayStation because the hardware offers something. So unless they're doing that, and I just don't know about that. We don't know about that. So I'm with you, Kate. It's just I really think that they're going to find themselves in like an impossible to solve communication pickle if they go down this route, which seems like they are. Yeah. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, no, I'm literally. Yeah, I'm gonna avoid the chat. No, I mean, surprisingly, Joaquin kind of agrees with you. Like, I mean, he made the point where it could be their doom or it could be their salvation. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm very much in the same boat as Deck. I agree that it's just going to be a communication nightmare. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with sharing these games to other platforms once they've reached their peak. And a lot of gamers these days, and our generation as well, and newer ones, they just want the shit. They want shit now. Like if a game is hype and a game is good, they want shit right now. So if there is that like timed exclusivity, like Deck said, that yes, it will be on Xbox for 2 years and then we might look to move it somewhere else. If the game's good enough and you're making these games good enough, people will just, they won't have the patience to wait that 2 years, and they will just buy it on the Xbox platform. I do actually think that is a thing. Gamers are very much like that. They're very impulsive. Isn't that right, Caden?
Right. I think that's super interesting. I think that's super interesting because I've seen this commentary before. I think even Joaquin might have said that to me before as well. And I'm just not sure, but I think that's quite interesting that's because especially if they do develop like these lower barrier to entries way to play. Like, let's say the Xbox store goes up and in the next 4 or 5 years, you can play games natively on your phone, not just cloud, or cloud gets better and you can. Would people just like spend 40 quid, maybe cheaper for whatever, get whole Game Pass Ultimate subscription to play it on their phone like day one? Like, would that happen? Like, is that feasible? And then again, because we're talking about not just the Xbox console here, the whole ecosystem, like, or would people go out and buy the budget version like the Series S, or would it push people to buy the expensive? I don't know, and I think like that is obviously we're in speculative territory here, but I just think like if they are going to want to do this, they need to have more chess pieces like lined up. Like, what's the family of like systems that you're giving, or your family like of ways that people can play? Because at the moment, just console and PC, it just makes it feel like console is getting second class treatment, whilst PC is not. So, but if there was, this push on mobile, there was like handheld push, maybe even a hybrid console, who knows? And maybe things start to click and make a bit more sense. We know Xbox aren't interested in just like playing the console war game anymore. They've been like, yeah, we lost. Like it's Jova, but so they've been pivoting for a while now. It's just, this is a really different approach for a console. So, if I sound flustered, it's because I am.
Yeah. No, I do. I completely agree. I do think there needs to be a little bit more of a master plan here, and that plan needs to be communicated with this change that they might be shifting into games. But they're just not, and it will create confusion, and yes, people will be hesitant to buy into probably this entire generation of consoles if that's the route they're going down.
Right.
I don't know how fast this movement's going to be. It's going to be pretty slow, to the point where we'll probably actually only see this sort of stuff really take effect probably towards the end of this generation and maybe into the next.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
But it will deter people and have them question buying into your generation, which is not what you want. So yeah, they just need to communicate it better and just really. But even that's hard. I feel like even if they did that and they were just like on a sheet with like graphics and they were like, this is what's going on. Green light, red light, traffic light system. The casual gamer will still just be like, I don't get it. I'm just going to stick with a PlayStation. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's tough, but I do think it's a very uphill battle if you go down this route. Beneficial or not, we'll see, but it's an uphill battle regardless. It's never going to be a smooth ride. doing
Because
something
it's
like
new
this.
territory as well, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's not really it's new for the gaming space to have this sort of approach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's really, you know, I think it's really interesting because, but my worry isn't that. I think it's really bad faith when some people comment on this and they're like, "Why do you care that other games are going to other platforms? Well, you're bothered because other people get to play." No, it's not. You're missing
Yeah, I
the
bleed
point.
green, man. Get
I
off my back.
don't want the Xbox console to die and to lose all of my digital library. It's like plain and simple as that. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to lose the shit I've bought. You know, it's quite. That's all it is.
Well,
And my
technically, you
concern is
wouldn't if
that.
you transferred to PC.
Well, was it? I mean, not everything is crossplay. You know, not
Not
everything is cross.
everything.
You know, it's
Yeah.
just the first party stuff. So you know, what about everything
It'd be
else?
less of a hit.
I mean, maybe they saw that out, but even then, like it's like it feels like I'm being pushed into PC, which you know, maybe personally that wouldn't be a problem in a couple of years, but right now I'm quite happy where I am. I don't want to feel pushed into another platform just because of the decisions that they're making. So it's not that bothers me. Like if they've got the strategy sorted and it works for me, then that's fine. But it's more I'm worried that it's going to set off a chain reaction that's going to stop Xbox adoption, stop third-party support. You know, we saw that happening with Japanese titles. And then imagine that starting to happen with like the next CD Projekt, the next Witcher game. You know, there's no point us making a Xbox version unless you pay us loads of money, because you know, it's like 10% of the market share. You know, they're just going to be like, what's the point? So they start missing out on games, and then slowly, like it's a slow death from there. You know, we saw this happening with the Wii U.
Stadia.
Yeah, the Stadia, it's a real problem. You know, if the adoption rate is too low, they'll just stop making games for it. You know, so maybe there's got to be they've got to be looking to keep people buying consoles somehow. Like they're not trying to win the console sales race, they're just trying to get money. But as long as they've got enough to keep third parties interested, and maybe they align the architecture of the next console with PC, and maybe if they are going for a handheld or whatever, so that it's easy to port. Like maybe that's part of the plan, you know, or whatever. But you know, there's just so much unclear there that from where I'm sitting, it's like if you put a finger wrong here, I think you're really dooming the audience that grew with you, that's giving you most of your money. So that's really like where I'm sitting on it.
I think it's quite interesting actually, because all our perspectives are quite different on this. Deck's very doom and gloom. I'm kind of doom and gloom, but not quite as bad. I'm like in the middle, and Caden's just like Tekken.
I play it on PC. So.
Well, we're fighting games. Yeah, sorry.
Well, they're all on PlayStation.
Yeah, well,
that is true.
Caden was ahead of the curve. He was just like, I'm going to get a PC now. Yeah.
He always is. He knew about indie.
He just buys everything. Yeah.
So I think Caden's like.
There's so many things I just can't tell you guys.
I wish I could speak right now, but it's strictly, you know, it's NDA. But like, I guess I just want to be clear that I think this is like, I think what they're looking at here is a good strategy. I think at some point, and I think it's great. Like I've always bitched about exclusives. Like I wish we lived in a world where that didn't have to happen. But I understand it's like part of like a serve. You know, it's Netflix, Disney Plus. You know, it's all exclusive content. Like, of course, I understand that. So I think it's great that if one of the big companies can start doing that, I think probably some of the others might do as well. You know, I don't think you're ever going to see a God of War on an Xbox platform, but we already saw Death Stranding go to a PC Game Pass. You know, we might see some other overlaps, you know, there. Who knows what that could be. I mean, again, you're not going to see a Mario on an Xbox or a PlayStation console, but you might see a bit more flexibility with that because these companies need to make money and reduce inflating AAA development costs. You know, it's ridiculous. They're going up to like 500 million, you know, whatever. They need to bring that down. And if this is a way to do that and capitalize on that, so be it. I think this is a good strategy for Xbox. I'm just worried about the strategy for just the console bit, which is where I have spent a lot of money and spent a lot of my time. That's all. But you know, I think for the overall brand that they're actually on the right track, and I think it's really cool. Actually, a very cool direction. That's why I'm still here. So I run a fucking podcast, mate. You know, I think it's cool, but I'm allowed to be a little bit worried, a bit jittery every now and then.
You can't help but wonder all the money you spent, right? And whether or not that gets slowly phased back to you as things get ported into PC, if we all move in that like direction, I don't know. But you can't help but think. I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't even know the number I'd put on my digital library right now in terms of money spent is bonkers. So
Yeah.
it is a scary thought, of course. Like you can't help but be like skeptical a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's quite it's a weirdly nerve wracking but exciting kind of time as well. Like it's odd. I've never been against like potentially moving to PC or whatever, but who knows? The ease of a console, I'm similar to you. The ease of a console is appealing to me right now. So yeah.
And that leads us kind of onto our like final story for the day. It's kind of a bit of a mixed story, but it's essentially feeling like it feels like we're on the cusp of like a big change. You know, like how when the Xbox One got announced and they were like, we're gonna be your all-in-one entertainment device. You know, you can you can watch TV, you can watch sports, you can play games, you can order a pizza. You pinch
Oh
your
yeah, I remember
screen,
I
that.
forgot about
Yeah,
the pizza thing.
Domino's ordered me a
watch
pizza.
porn. Yeah, you can do whatever you want here. Just say it. We'll do it. Make it happen. Yeah, Cortana order me a Domino's. Yeah, so funny.
That's ridiculous.
And that was a massive change for them. You know, that was like we're gonna go from being the Xbox 360, which was while it great, they were just playing the same game that PlayStation were playing. They were just trying to be the green version of the PlayStation. They did great, they did well, and they capitalized on PlayStation's mistakes at the time. But then they were like, right, we're going to pivot. We think we've seen the future, with TV being everything is a big part of this as well. It's just that they bid on like boxes, like set boxes, rather than like streaming through like Netflix, and it wasn't ideal to pitch that to gamers who wanted to see fucking video games. It feels like we're now here again, which is almost exactly 10 years on the dot. It feels like we're finally here. All these acquisitions have happened and they're about to like put out like a video or something where it's like, look, this is the deal. This is what we're going to be doing from now on. These are our ambitions over the next 5 years. We want to have this. Look at all these, maybe even a roadmap. I wish they did like an MCU roadmap for like their game. Wouldn't that be fucking great? Like with the black background and the MCU timeline for films. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Great.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be sick? And they were like, yeah, here we go. Just lay it all down, lay the strategy down, give me the rationale. That really feels like that's like about to happen, like in the next few months, maybe next 6 months, like maybe before E3. I don't know. I don't know if you guys feel that way as well. That
feels a bit early, maybe. I think there's some more legs in just playing the game how they're playing right now.
Well, they are approaching a shift, I think.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm just not sure if it's happening in the next few months. It's a large info dump. I think that's the sort of thing that will be spread over time as well, rather than just.
I fucking hope
this
not.
Is it. Put the date in your calendar. Xbox is dead from this point. Like, it's not going to be like that.
It's the Z box.
Yeah.
From September, it's the Z box. We're changing it up. Yeah.
Yeah. But 100%. There's that vibe in the air. There's a shift. There's a storm brewing. My joints are aching.
It does feel like it's coming. So with that in mind, right, this is what we got over this weekend, right? A ZeniMax product manager went on a gaming podcast. I think they're called Infinite Umbra. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And they spoke about like a lot of these rumors, the multi-platform stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And these were the bullet points. These were the takeaway points, which I don't know if this take with a grain of salt, obviously, but this person has a Twitter account. They obviously willingly joined their podcast. It seems fairly verifiable, but you can never really know on the internet. They said around springtime, Sarah Bond's going to say something. Who knows? They said that there's going to be a very concise explanation by Xbox about the situation and what's going to happen, which, like we said, it feels like there needs to be if they are going to start putting games everywhere. And generally, there are kind of a lot of ongoing discussions in that it's not going to be as bad for console owners as like a lot of people are making out, probably me included. So I just think it's interesting. That to me, if to be believed, again, does kind of verify to me like where we're like really on the cusp of like something happening. It might even be the end of Phil. Phil might retire this year, to be honest, and hand the reins down to Sarah Bond.
Just get shot.
It's like it's
Sarah
assassinated.
Bond shoots Phil Spencer live on stage.
Yeah, Xbox fanboy like gets up with a Glock. Why would you do this?
Excuse me, cat.
Why haven't you revived Beaver Pinata yet? Or Cameo?
Oh.
Is that a cat?
It is a
nice.
cat.
That's Luna, right?
Yeah, Luna, say hello.
Hi, Luna. Can she?
Will she meow? Called Luna.
I do have a dog called Luna. Yeah.
Oh, that's tragic.
It's easy to learn the name though. Became very second nature. She was clawing at me, so that's why I brought her up.
Hi, Luna.
Wanting attention.
Yeah. For anybody who's listening, we're not going crazy. There is a cat on camera right now.
Yeah, and that's why you should subscribe and watch it.
Yeah, that's right. What is it with cats and like trying to stick their ass in your face? What's that about? They always do that, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Like, have a look at this. Have a little look at this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Am I clean down there?
Yeah,
I can't see
Anything
back there.
to say? Any comments? I think I might do that to you guys next time I see you. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, sorry, that derailed everything.
I'm just gonna quickly check in on chat. Yeah, Connect is one of the prime examples that came from that era of Xbox. Yeah, that's right. It's a big gamble, right? And that is kind of the scary thing because Xbox have this history of like they see the trajectory and then they're too early or they just like fumble it somehow and it's like, oh god, guys, this feels like the big one. Like don't get this one wrong. But then there's a lot of things that they really got right. Like the subscription model. Like Game Pass has been a hit. Backwards compatibility has been a hit. Like crossplay has been a hit. There's plenty of things where they've called it right. And even Connect arguably was right. It was just too early. Like, with the way Alexas and Google Homes and whatever else took off, like smart home assistants, like they were on the right path. I'm just not sure it quite needed to be fused with a game console. So. Do you think Xbox needs VR? Neither of you care about VR, do you?
I personally don't.
I get really sick when I play VR.
Oh, right.
Really
probably
bad.
not then.
Really makes me sad because I want to. I really want to, but I get so unwell.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played some VR and it's fine, but I don't know. It doesn't really interest me that much. When I game, I don't want to be up and about and moving and fucking ducking and jumping and bobbing and weaving. I don't want to be doing any of that. Yeah, I want to be a tater. I don't.
And I pretend that I can move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not actually move.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, I'm not a big fan on VR, and it's such expensive tech at the moment as well. Like it's so crazy the amount of money you have to dump into it to get anything that's even
you need the PC to begin with to run it, and then you need the headset. So
and to compete with the people that are already at the top already, to join the race this late, you need to make something. You really need to invest a lot of money in it. So I just think you've missed a boat with that, and I don't think you're missing like a large portion of gamers or whatever. Like it's not. I don't think it's ever going to take off quite as just console gaming or PC gaming ever has. So it's fine to just not join the race at this point.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree, especially because it's like it's quite still like very niche and it's very expensive, and I'm sure the R&D involved would be really expensive. Like it doesn't feel like at this stage the cost benefit of getting into that just to have like a Game Pass VR headset would be worth it. And I also don't know like how easy it is for devs to make a VR game. Like I'm pretty sure PlayStation have hired up a lot of talent for that so that they can make VR ports and VR games. It's not an easy thing to pivot into. And the VR2 has had a lot of, criticism, hasn't it? The PSVR2 for like not having not that many games. Like the ports have been mixed quality.
It's the same price as the console, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And you need the console to play it as well, don't you? So
yeah, I mean, it's an enthusiast, it's a hardcore product, isn't it? You gotta have the right space for it and everything. It reminds me, actually, it's quite funny because it's the Apple Vision or whatever it's called has been all over my feed like over the last few weeks. So you guys see it now, like $3,500 or whatever.
Yeah.
And like all the videos I've seen of it are just people wearing it while doing like mundane like shit, like they're cleaning the floor,
watching YouTube.
And it's like, look at this amazing feature. It shows you like a heat map of the floor.
Well, yeah, but I can just put my phone there and done.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to get sweaty on my face to do that,
You say that, but I'm pretty sure our next meetup, you're going to have that on. And you're going to be watching YouTube while in the room with us.
You won't even know.
We will.
It's going to be like a camo one. It's going to be like an invisible one. You're going to be like, you're just like staring off like just above our heads.
Very interesting, actually.
Contact lenses, but yeah, it's just stuff like that. Like I've seen people like cleaning, and it's like it shows a heat map of where you've already cleaned and where you haven't cleaned. And I'm like, I do that with my own eyes. Like I just look at the dirt, and when the dirt's not there, it's done. Like I don't need a VR headset with that. I've seen so many things like that. People like having dinner and there's like a clock going, like a virtual clock. It's like it's a watch. You guys know watch or watches? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the advantage is. I suppose it's like an AR headset, isn't it? It's like an augmented reality thing. But yeah, anyway. Fuck. Okay, so to tie this together, then there may be. It seems there is some smoke now, as there has been before. When Caden, when you first came on the show, we covered all those big fat fucking leaks a couple months ago. We, it's all subject to change. There's a couple years old, and we never know how things are going to work out. But there was a handheld mentioned in there. But it's on the way that they spoke about it was that it wasn't feasible at the moment, basically. There's now a couple of journalists and insiders reporting that there may be an Xbox handheld in the works. And this is immensely exciting for me. Like, as much as I like give Nintendo shit, I think the Switch is like a perfect console. And I've said this on the show multiple times. The Switch is for what they're trying to do, execution, 10 out of 10. You get 10 out of 10 marks, for what they were trying to do. So I've always, this goes back to, doesn't it, Tim, when we were, we used to play Monster Hunter. Caden, I think you did as well, right? You put on like a PSP or whatever. And then the 3DS. Like portable consoles have always been part of my life. Only really in the last 5 years they haven't been.
Yeah.
So like I really like the idea of it. It depends how it's priced and everything. But even at the moment, I'm looking at things like the Asus ROG Ally and Steam Deck, and I'm eyeing them up. Like, oh, maybe it's just a bit out of price range for where I'm at in life at the moment right now. But that won't be the case in maybe a year or two. And if Xbox do pump out like a native, fully supported Xbox console that maybe even covers PC stuff as well, who knows how they do it. That would be such a slam dunk for me personally. Like, yes, I wouldn't, if I was a PlayStation like main, I wouldn't want to double dip with a VR headset. But if I'm an Xbox main, I would double dip with a handheld. Like I would get a main console and a handheld on the side. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
when I move around, with work and stuff. Like I bring my Switch with me all the time because, like you said, it's perfect. It's so good for just picking up on the go. Perfect for playing little indie games on that are on the backlog. Awesome. An Xbox handheld would just be the same but better, and I'd already have a library that is huge. So,
and Game Pass is such an indie. Like it's so good for indies.
Yeah. So I think if that was a thing, I would quite swiftly pick that up. So it depends how close that is to the Switch 2. That's rumored this year as well.
That's true. The peak with the Switch 2 is going to be tough. Impossible, actually. It will be impossible. I changed my answer. I'd be very interested in it as well. 100%. As long as they don't go down like the cloud route. If it was all like cloud-based gaming and it was just
I prefer
Was
a
it
more
called
physical
PlayStation 1?
download.
Portal, I think.
Portal, yeah.
Yeah. If they did that and it was just like, oh, so essentially this is just a kind of more comfortable way to play it, and it's just not on my phone, I wouldn't be that interested. But yeah, if it was a bit more native and it integrated better, yeah, 100%, I'd snap that up in a heartbeat as well. Yeah, I'm much along the same wavelength. Yeah, it'd be sick.
And I think Joaquin makes a good point here. The handheld will be the new Series S for next gen at $299, $499 for the beefy boy. That's a fair point. When we look at how has the Series X worked out, and would that appeal go even further for like a handheld? And like I think actually it just popped into my head. A really good analogy for that, I think, is the Switch Lite that they ended up doing that couldn't dock. And it was like £100 cheaper, wasn't it? And I think that was quite popular. It gets it just that bit lower into that lower price range that's into like lower earning groups, but also it's in that impulse buy territory where it's like you see on a good deal and you just buy that because it's that cheap.
Do you think they'll go, if they do go down that route and Series S being the handheld, do you think they will go down the route same as Switch of putting it in the you can dock it as well. You can chuck it into your TV and you can have it.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I think it'd be smart to go down that route and not just make it like a Switch Lite and it's only handheld. I think it would be smart to go down that route before Nintendo pan it, at least. You know what they're like, try and pan Oxygen these days.
Yeah, well,
Physics.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a really good idea. And I suppose actually this is an interesting, like, as you were saying before about like, how's it going to compete with the Switch? And you look at things like the Steam Deck, like the Asus ROG Ally, whatever, Lenovo, whatever it is. Some of them are cloud-based, some of them are not, some of them are both. But like, do we think there's overlap between those, the people buying those and the people buying a Switch? Or would someone who is like a Nintendo enthusiast still buy like a Steam Deck? I mean, like, are they distinguished enough? I would say yes, because they have access to PC and Xbox and,
Yeah, there will always be that, but it's just a case of how long would that time period be before they make both the purchases, right? So if they purchase the Switch 2 first and then they're just like, this will do me for a long time, I'm quite happy, I don't need this Xbox One. Then it's just, and if loads of people think that way and it's just not competing with the Switch 2 for a said period of time, it's just going to rot and die in that space, right? It needs to hit the ground running a little bit. It needs to have some adoption rate. If it has a niche adoption rate, it will just die out of the gates. So
this is what they're going to do. We're not going to see it for a couple of years. So bear that in mind. This is what we're going to do. Blade, the film, is going to come out.
Correct. Yeah.
It's going to be great. Everyone's going to love it. It's going to reinvigorate the MCU.
That's a lie.
Everyone's in it. Everyone loves it. Wow, this is one of the best action movies I've ever seen at all time. With that fella, I can't remember his name.
It's had like 10 different scripts. That movie's not.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be the first 105 Metacritic film of all time. They're going to nail it. Everyone's on a Blade hype. Xbox are going to say, great, this is good timing. Here's Xbox
Killed.
handheld. Here's Killed. Here's our Xbox handheld. And it's going to have a Blade limited edition. It's going to be red. Blade's going to be on the front of it, pulling his blade out his back. And where the top of the handheld is a stylus. Blade. You pull it out. And you can use that on the screen.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the handheld isn't just going to be on, the Xbox architecture as we're used to. It's going to be on some crazy like Xbox Windows Cloud Fusion. You're done playing Blade exclusive to your Xbox platform, and you want to do a bit of work, just pull out that stylus out of Blade's sheath, and open up Excel. Get onto Microsoft Word. Get onto PowerPoint. You want to practice for your interview tomorrow. You just swipe through your PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
And that is the winning strategy.
Yeah. And marketing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the winning strategy.
You're watching Blade in the opening weekend. Look under your seat. It's
got a Blade Xbox handheld.
It's there. Press the button in front of you, plug it into the TV that comes up from the floor. Test it out live in the studio, in the theatre.
Right now. You do it right now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
They're all signed by Wesley Snipes, the original Blade.
Yeah. So hang on a minute. Guys, I think we've made a mistake. I don't think this makes any sense.
I'm not gonna lie, man. You went to a point where I stopped listening. It was around the
That's
whole
just
Excel
so fucking rude,
point.
isn't it?
No, actually, no. It was the stylus thing kind of made me laugh, and then I just realized that you went off the rails a little bit, and I just stopped listening.
I didn't realize people still use styluses. Stylus.
Exactly. Yeah. No one uses a fucking stylus. Yeah.
But you've got to remember this one's like a little. It's like a little sword. It's like a little sword.
Yeah, I got that bit. Yeah, I got that.
Okay, so
yeah.
just so we
can. Blade uses a sword, Caden.
Right.
Yeah. You weren't aware.
And not a stylus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look under your fucking seat again. There's a pack of fizzy fangs. Enjoy.
Yeah, and a pouch of type A blood. I give it to whoever needs it. You know, whoever you think.
God.
Yeah. Man. Well, that was entertaining. Yeah, but this is super exciting to me. I'm like, I hope that is the case. I hope that they are working on a handheld. Like, it's all well and good, like getting involved with the Steam Deck and the Asus ROG and whatever, but it's like none of it's. I don't know if you guys have looked into it, but like none of it's like supported very like natively or integratively. Like, there's not like a easy peasy open up your Xbox interface and just do it from there. It's like you've got to go into stuff, or you've got to do cloud gaming, or it's not straightforward. Otherwise, I'd have probably pulled the trigger by now. But yeah, and I assume the thing that they'll try to have over a Switch 2. I mean, they're not that they're trying to compete with the Switch 2. It's just like kind of an auxiliary way to get into the Xbox platform, the Xbox ecosystem. But I assume it will be quite a beefy boy. And obviously Game Pass will be there. Games will carry over, backwards compat, and all of that. That'd be sweet. That'd be so sweet.
But games are also going to be coming to the Switch too, because they, Xbox exclusives don't stay on the platform.
It's so true. It's such a good point.
Xbox We're right back round to point number one.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
So over. It's so
Jova. Fucking Jova, man.
Yeah, I've got a lot of mixed feelings about the platform because of that. Like, basically, if they're doing a handheld, it's all fucking good. If they're not, and they're just porting all their games elsewhere, it's dead. 6 foot under, mate.
You say that weird.
Yeah, he did that. Oh, he did.
Yeah,
he did something with
6 foot under, mate.
Sallow straight out like Peaky Blinders. 6 foot under, mate. Oh my god, we almost went a full episode with Wacky not fucking commenting on my messy hair, and then he says I look like the guy from 28 Days Later when he wakes up.
That's Cillian Murphy, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, it is Cillian Murphy. Yeah, now I'm going to take that to win.
Peaky Blinders,
idiot. That meant to be an insult, Wacky, and that backfired.
The order of the Peaky Blinders.
He's only sometimes handsome, to be fair.
Really, sometimes.
Who? Cillian? Yeah. Sometimes he's kind of weird looking.
Yeah.
His eyes.
No, but
a bit too intense.
That's quite in at the moment though. Like being chiseled but kind of weird looking is very like in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Just get a hammer, smack away at those cheekbones.
Yeah. You don't need to pay for expensive surgery. Just fucking ballpoint hammer your in cheeks.
Yeah. I don't know what he was going on. I don't know if you saw the chat, Tim. Did you see him like going on about like a load of nonsense as well?
He was going,
you bloody whinging governor. Oh, come off it, Hermione. Like, what's going on here?
He also dropped a really, really depressing comment. VR will be big when we're dead.
Maybe.
First time I thought about my immortality in a while.
Really? In a while? Man, life's been good for you, isn't it?
Well, how often do you think about
it's like a daily occurrence, surely?
Yeah, like at least twice a day. Like,
think about your own death, do you? Oh. Wow.
Yeah, like I just wonder. Like I wonder a lot of things. You know, what would it be like?
Yeah. Switch 2, Xbox handheld. When am I going to die?
Well, I was thinking today, like if you get shots through the head,
Go on.
like
you do die.
Like, do you
yeah.
actually die straight away? I mean, I know you die, but like, do you die straight away? Like, the assumption is that you just stop existing.
You're the brain man. You tell us.
Well, it's an assumption. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know.
Well,
We can't prove that. Nobody has been shot in the head, died, and then said, nah.
What do you consider being alive?
Had not died.
What do you consider being alive if I have a fucking electromagnetic pulse in my brain 2 seconds after I've been shot in the head?
I mean,
am I still alive?
If you're experiencing stuff, like if you're experiencing senses, I'd say you're still ticking.
What is death?
What is death?
It's a good point.
It's when Xbox puts their games on other consoles.
Yeah, it's when. Can we create a pact when Hi-Fi Rush hits other consoles? We all shoot ourselves live.
Suicide pact.
Suicide Squad.
Hold them accountable.
With the Suicide Squad. God.
I'll tag Phil of us holding hands with like revolvers. Yeah. Phil, if you do it, say goodbye to 3 of your biggest fans. Yeah. I'll get Beth to like do a follow-up picture or something.
Yeah, it's on you, Phil.
That's dark, man.
It's your call. 3 innocent lives.
Will be on your...
Or money.
Yeah. It's your call.
God.
That's so funny. Taking each other hostage. Stop it happening. Man, that's funny.
That's being a diehard fan right there.
Oh, yeah. Man. All right then. Let's wrap this up before we make any more insensitive jokes.
Yeah, that was quite heavy. That's ending segment to the show.
Good, that's at the end rather than the beginning, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
Safe.
That's true.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we started there and just kept going? Well, I don't know where we'd be now. Like, I'm glad we had to build up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. God.
All right, everyone. This has been episode 128 of the Quick Resume podcast. If you've enjoyed your time here, we'd really appreciate a cheeky little subscription. That'd be really good. That'd be really nice. We will be back next week to talk about whatever else happens in the industry and on the green side of things. Other than that, have a fucking fantastic rest of your day. Fantastic Sunday, fantastic Monday. And all of the days that come after that until next Sunday.
Until the end. Until darkness.
The darkness. Yeah. We won't know really when you've passed. That is part of the question. We won't know. Like, even if it's a bullet, we won't know. We will assume that you are dead.
Wrap it up, man. Wrap it up.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Okay, so bye. Thank you. And good night.
Right.
Bye, everyone.